Hello. Today I'll be reading Numbers 25, 26, 27, and Psalms 48 for the one story that leads to Jesus' Bible reading plan. At the end of Genesis, Abraham's family arrived in Egypt with famine behind them and an uncertain future ahead. Yet God took this humble and haggard group of shepherds and made them into a great nation. He rescued them from slavery by splitting open the sea. He showered them with bread from the skies and poured out water from the dry desert ground. He brought them to the borders of the promised land, protecting them from enemy armies and turning curses into blessings right over their heads. Despite these gifts, Israel struggles to trust God and follow his instruction. In today's reading, Israel falls into sexual sin and idolatry, a common pairing in Scripture. Just as adultery violates the covenant of marriage, Israel's idolatry violates their covenant with Yahweh. God, like a loving spouse, wants his covenant partners to be faithful. This extreme measure Phinehas takes against Israel's unfaithfulness points to the deadly consequences of Israel's breaking their agreement with God. Following the plague crisis, the new generation of Israelites prepares to enter the promised land. Moses takes a new census of fighting age men, and Zelophehad, his daughters, challenge Moses about Israel's inheritance laws. Now that permanent land will be established, women need property rights once reserved for men only. Moses sees their good point, agreeing to change the law so that the Abrahamic blessings will continue to will continue for all Israelite families. Then Moses appoints Joshua as the successor to provide Israel with a strong leader. The end of Israel's wilderness wandering is in sight. All right, Numbers 25, Moab seduces Israel. While Israel was staying in Shittim, the men began to indulge in sexual immorality with Moabite women, who invited them to the sacrifices to their gods. The people ate the sacrificial meal and bowed down before these gods. So Israel yoked themselves to the Baal of Peor, and the Lord's anger burned against them. The Lord said to Moses, "Take all the leaders of these people, kill them, and expose them in broad daylight before the Lord, so that the Lord's fierce anger may turn away from Israel." So Moses said to Israel's judges, "Each of you must put to death those of your people who have yoked themselves to the Baal of Peor." Then an Israelite man brought into camp a Midianite woman right before the eyes of Moses and the whole assembly of Israel while they were weeping at the entrance to the tent of meeting. When Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, saw this, he left the assembly, took a spear in his hand, and followed the Israelite into the tent. He drove the spear into both of them, right through the Israelite men and into the woman's stomach. Then the plague against the Israelites was stopped. But those who died in the plague numbered 24,000. The Lord said to Moses, "Phinehas, son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, has turned my anger away from the Israelites, since he was as zealous for my honor among them as I am. I did not put an end to them in my zeal. Therefore, tell him I am making my covenant of peace with him. He and his descendants will have a covenant of a lasting priesthood, because he was zealous for the honor of his God and made atonement for the Israelites." The name of the Israelite who killed the Midianite woman was Simri, son of Salu, the leader of a Simeonite family. And the name of the Midianite woman who was put to death was Cosbi, daughter of Zur, a tribal chief of a Midianite family. The Lord said to Moses, "Treat the Midianites as enemies and kill them. They treated you as enemies when they deceived you in the Peor incident involving their sister Cosbi, the daughter of a Midianite leader, the woman who was killed when the plague came as a result of that incident." All right, Numbers 26, the second census. After the plague, the Lord said to Moses and Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, "Take a census of the whole Israelite community by families, all those 20 years or old or more who are able to serve in the army of Israel." So on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho, Moses and Eleazar the priest spoke with them and said, "Take a census of the 20 or take a census of the men 20 years old or more, as the Lord commanded Moses." These were the Israelites who came out of Egypt. The descendants of Reuben, the firstborn son of Israel, were through Hanok, the Hanokite clan, through Palu, the Palulite clan, through Hezron, the Hezronite clan, through Carmi, the Carmite clan. These were the clans of Reuben. Those numbered were 43,730. The son of Palu was Eliab, and the sons of Eliab were Nemiel, Dathan, and Abiram. The same Dathan and Abiram were the community officials who rebelled against Moses, and Aaron were among Korah's followers when they rebelled against the Lord. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed them along with Korah, whose followers died when the fire devoured the 250 men, and they served as a warning sign. The line of Korah, however, did not die out. The descendants of Simeon by their clans were through Nemiel, the Nemielite clan, through Jamin, the Jaminite clan, through Jachin, the Jachinite clan, through Zerah, the Zerahite clan, through Shaul, the Shaulite clan. These were the clans of Simeon. Those numbered were 22,200. The descendants of Gad by their clans were through Ziphon, the Ziphonite clan, through Hagi, the Hagianite clan, through Shuni, the Shunite clan, through Ozni, the Oznite clan, through Uri, the Urite clan, through Arordi, the Arodite clan, through Arieli, the Arilite clan. These were the clans of God. Those numbered were 40,500. And Onan were the sons of Judah, but they died in Canaan. The descendants of Judah by their clans were through Shelah, the Shilonite clan, through Perez, the Perezite clan, through Zerah, the Zerahite clan. The descendants of Perez were through Hezron, the Hezronite clan, through Hamul, the Hamulite clan. These were the clans of Judah. Those numbered were 76,500. The descendants of Issachar by their clans were through Tola, the Tolaite clan, through Pua, the Puite clan, through Jezub, the Jehubite clan, through Shimron, the Shimronite clan. These were the clans of Issachar. Those numbered were 64,300. The descendants of Zebulun by their clan were through Sered, the Seredite clan, through Elon, the Elonite clan, through Jaleel, the Jaleelite clan. These were the clans of Zebulun. Those numbered were 60,500. The descendants of Joseph by their clans through Messena and Ephraim were the descendants of Manasseh through Machir, the Machirite clan. Machir was the father of Gilead, through Gilead, and the Gileadite clan. These were the descendants of Gilead. Through Ezur, the Ezurite clan. Through Helek, the Helek clan. Through Azriel, the Azrielite clan. Through Shechem, the Shechemite clan. Through Shemitah, the Shemidite clan. Through Hefer, the Heferite clan. Zelophehad, son of Hefer, had no sons. He had only daughters, whose names were Mahlah, Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tirzah. These were the clans of Manasseh. Those numbered were 52,700. These were the descendants of Ephraim by the clans through Shilthlah, the Shilithalite clan, through Becher, the Becherite clan, through Titan or Tahan, the Tahanite clan. These were the descendants of Shuthelah through Aaron, the Aaronite clan. These were the clans of Ephraim, those numbered were 32,500. These were the descendants of Joseph by their clans. I'm gonna pass through these because they were just names and names and names. The total number of men of Israel were 601,730. The Lord said to Moses, the land is to be allotted to them as an inheritance based on the number of names. To a larger group, give a larger inheritance, and to a smaller group, a smaller one. Each is to receive its inheritance according to the number of those listed. Be sure that the land is distributed by lot. What each group inherits will be according to the names for its ancestral tribe. Each inheritance is to be distributed by lot among the larger and smaller groups. These were the Levites who were counted by their clans, through Gershon, the Gershonite clan, through Kohath, the Kohath clan, through Merari, the Merarite clan. These were the Levite clans, the Libnite clan, the Hebronite clan, the Malite clan, the Mushite clan, the Korahite clan. Korath was the forefather of Amram. The name of Amram's wife was Jochebed, a descendant of Levi, who was born to the Levites in Egypt. To Amram she bore Aaron, Moses, and their sister Miriam. Aaron was the father of Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died when they made an offering before the Lord with unauthorized fire. All the male Levites a month old or more numbered 23,000. They were not counted along with the other Israelites because they received no inheritance among them. These are the ones counted by Moses and Eleazar, the priests, when they counted the Israelites on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. Not one of them was among those counted by Moses and Aaron, the priests, when they counted the Israelites in the desert of Sinai. For the Lord had told those Israelites they would surely die in the wilderness, and not one of them was left except Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun. Let me read this section here. Why did God include stories of disobedience in His Word? The Israelites, like all people, made many mistakes. If the Bible had portrayed them as perfectly obeying God's commandment all the time, we might have had a hard time taking the Bible seriously. However, we see that their hearts were easily corrupted and that they often turned from God. Instead of ignoring their mistakes or sweeping them under the rug, God taught them lessons through their mistakes and engraved those lessons in His Word so that we could learn from them. As punishment for the Israelites' idolatry and sexual immorality, God sent a plague against the people that continued until they realized their sin and took appropriate action. For modern day Bible readers, thousands of years later, we recognize that we also sin, and we clearly see how God uses those practical lessons to teach everyday truths to us as well. All right, Numbers chapter 27. Zelophehad's daughters. The daughters of Zelophehad, son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, belonged to the clans of Manasseh, son of Joseph. The names of the daughters were Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They came forward and stood before Moses, Eleazar the priest, the leaders, and the whole assembly at the entrance to the tent of meeting and said, "Our father died in the wilderness. He was not among Korah's followers who banded together against the Lord, but he died for his own sin and left no sons. Why should our father's name disappear from his clan because he had no son? Give us property among our father's relatives." So Moses brought their case before the Lord, and the Lord said to him, "What Zelophehad's daughters are saying is right. You must certainly give them property as an inheritance among their father's relatives, and give their father's inheritance to them. Say to the Israelites, if a man dies and leaves no son, give his inheritance to his daughter. If he has no daughter, give his inheritance to his brothers. If he has no brothers, give his inheritance to his father's brothers. If his father has had no brothers, give his inheritance to the nearest relative in his clan, that he may possess it. This is to have the force of law for the Israelites, as the Lord commanded Moses." Joshua to succeed Moses. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Go up this mountain in the Abraham range and see the land I have given the Israelites. After you have seen it, you too will be gathered to your people, as your brother Aaron was. For when the community rebelled at the waters in the desert of Zin, both of you disobeyed my command to honor me as holy before their eyes. These were the waters of Meribah, Kadesh, in the desert of Sin." Moses said to the Lord, "May the Lord, the God who gives breath to all living things, appoint someone over this community to go out and come in before them, one who will lead them out and bring them in. So the Lord's people will not be like sheep without a shepherd." So the Lord said to Moses, "Take Joshua, son of Nun, a man in whom is the spirit of leadership, and lay your hand on him. Have him stand before Eleazar the priest and the entire assembly and commission him in their presence. Give him some of your authority so the whole Israelite community will obey him. He is to stand before Eleazar the priest, who will obtain decisions for him by inquiring of the Urim before the Lord. At his command, he and the entire community of Israelites will go out, and at his command, they will come in." Moses did as the Lord commanded him. He took Joshua and had him stand before Eleazar the priest and the whole assembly. Then he laid his hand on him and commissioned him, as the Lord instructed through Moses. All right. Moving on to Psalms 48. All right. Psalms 48. A song, a psalm of sons of Korah. Great is the Lord, and most worthy of praise, in the city of our God, his holy mountain. Beautiful in its loftiness, the joy of the whole earth, like the heights of Zaphon, is Mount Zion, the city of the great king. God is in her citadels. He has shown himself to her fortress. When the king joined forces, when they advanced together, they saw her and were astounded. They fled in terror. Trembling seized them there. Pain like that woman, like pain like that of a woman in labor. You destroyed them like ships of Tarshish, shattered by an east wind. As we have heard, so we have seen in the city of the Lord Almighty, in the city of our God. God makes her secure forever. Within your temple, O God, we meditate on your unfailing love. Like your name, O God, your praise reaches to the ends of the earth. Your right hand is filled with righteousness. Mount Zion rejoices. The villages of Judah are glad because of your judgments. Walk about Zion, go around her, count her towers, consider well her ramparts, view her citadels, that you may tell of them to the next generation. For this is God, for this God is our God forever and ever. He will be our guide even to the end. All right, that's it for day 48 of this Bible plan. Cheers.